What's up everybody, my name is Gabe Deem and this is the Reboot Nation, a channel dedicated to helping people recover from porn related problems like addiction or sexual dysfunction and raising awareness on the topic and the science behind the problem. This video is going to be one of the past Q&A videos I made for my Patreon supporters, where once a month I answer any question that they have on the topic of recovery, a process we call rebooting. If you would like your question answered or would like to help support me on my mission of raising awareness and helping people, please consider supporting me at patreon.com/GabeDeem. I hope y'all find this video helpful. Much love. Bye. The first question would like to know whether it is normal to have pain in the lower back and balls after several days of, I'm assuming you meant to say no PMO based on the rest of your question. I have been trying to abstain from masturbation, but eventually this pain kicks in and I just have to masturbate to orgasm. Should I just go through it? This happens only after abstaining from MO for like 4 to 5 days. Slight pain in the balls is normal amongst rebooters and pretty frequently often reported. And it's what a lot of guys refer to as blue balls, which is the result of vasocongestion during sexual arousal where the genitals swell with blood and tension is increased. Now, it's important to point out that I don't think blue balls is a buildup of sperm necessarily that needs to be released, but rather it's a buildup of blood flow and tension that can irritate the nerves and cause a discomfort or an uncomfortable sensation in the pelvic region. And the cure, some things that guys find beneficial, are things to increase blood flow or get blood away from the genitals. So cold water, cold showers has been very beneficial to myself and many other rebooters. And some guys on the opposite end of the spectrum said hot showers or maybe sitting in the hot tub has helped relieve the pain from them. But the main takeaway is that if your body needs a release, you'll have a wet dream, a nocturnal emission. And I would say, to be safe, if you're experiencing chronic pain especially, go get checked out with a doctor just to make sure everything's okay. But as far as feeling discomfort after abstaining from ejaculation for a couple days to a week or two, that's pretty fairly common. And myself and many other guys have gotten through it by exercise, getting the blood flowing, or cold water on the genitals, or taking a cold shower. Those have been very beneficial. So when in doubt, go get it checked out. But yes, keep trucking through it. Yo, Gabe.
Yo. What's that? What's that?
How important was Karezza in your recovery? I'm in a weird state of my reboot where if I go 3 weeks without orgasm, I feel pretty good for sex, but then after a few orgasms in a week, like 5 to 6, I'm back in the flatline for a while. I think I need to practice Karezza. I think Karezza was very beneficial for me. Not only did I get the benefits of rewiring and feeling a sense of heightened connection without the post-orgasm feeling of a flatline with no libido and kind of just feeling like a zombie for a few days, it helped me get the positive feelings of connection psychologically and also rewire my arousal template to a partner without overstimulating my brain. So I thought it was very beneficial to me personally. It seemed to help. The main benefits would be just the rewiring. It also helped me with some premature ejaculation that I was dealing with. Just focusing on going slow, taking my time, and not trying to have pornified sex where I try and get off as fast as I can and ejaculate without any real care of my partner's pleasure. Retraining myself on how I had sex was also pretty beneficial because in a sense I trained myself to have sex like the porn I was watching and get off as fast as possible because it was all focused on the money shot. It was all focused on the climax. And so there was a lot of variables for myself personally that I needed to relearn about what good sexual connection and a good healthy sex life looks like with your partner. There's multiple benefits, and I do think that training your nervous system to take things slowly with Karezza and just focusing on connection rather than climax is super beneficial to rebooters. So I highly encourage you to try it out. You don't have to do it every time, and if you do ejaculate, it's not the end of the world, obviously. Any sex is rewiring and good for you, but it's definitely worth to mix in my opinion, during your reboot if you're gonna be sexually active. Could you provide any advice or words of encouragement to someone that seems like they're facing a 2-year reboot? I can give you some advice as someone who thought I was never gonna recover and be broken for life. It ended up taking me 9 months to get my sexual function back, 15 months to be able to masturbate without porn, and I felt mental, cognitive, motivational improvements for up to the first 2 years, I'd say. And I've read countless stories from other guys that have taken several years to recover. So number one, other people have done it and you can too. Number two, the brain can always change our entire lives. So regardless of how long it takes, know that neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to regain sensitivity and to rewire, is always there. There's always hope. So focus on being patient, getting disciplined, and pursuing the things that you want in life. Focus on learning new things, enjoying other things other than sex, because there's a lot more to life than that. And just simply let the reboot process do its thing as you embrace the highs and lows of life. It's gonna be painful, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but embrace it, learn from your past, pursue the future that you want, and let the reboot process do its thing. And number three, try and be thankful for this opportunity to improve your life with the knowledge that's available. There's tons of guys in their 50s and 60s that are just starting the reboot process. I know, because I've spoken with them, that they would love to be your age with the knowledge that you have now trying to improve your life. They would love to trade places with you. So be thankful that you've learned what you've learned at your age, and know that there's always hope. Let that encourage you to push forward to the reboot process. You got this. Keep trucking. All right, next question is from James, and he says, can you discuss more on what the physical symptoms of the void and the flatline entail for someone who's never been through it to be able to recognize? As far as physical symptoms go, most people report that their genitals feel lifeless and sometimes cold and numb, and maybe even change color a little bit, most likely as the result of a lack of blood flow completely. Libido-wise, you might still consciously have thoughts about sex, that it would be awesome and cool, but there's no physical pull, there's no drive or libido to push you towards pursuing that. And you know, there's no feelings of horniness, no butterflies in your stomach or anything like that if you see an attractive person or think about sex. A flatline is not the same feeling as depression and a lack of motivation for everything. It's a lack of motivation physically for sex. Put simply, the physical symptoms of a flatline is that you don't feel anything physically. James also says, I've had a lot of attention from girls and I'm socially more confident. That's good. Keep enjoying the social interaction and building up the confidence. I still have no morning wood or physical response when around women. Be patient with the morning wood. It took me several months to get morning wood back. Around, I believe month 3, it started to return, and it progressively got better and better with time. But it can take a while to come back. He says, I think my brain is beyond repair. I'm not sure if I'm flatlining still. Your brain isn't beyond repair. Repair implies that there's damage, and addiction and sexual dysfunction is not about damage. It's about pathological learning and rewiring the arousal template in the brain. And with the concept of neuroplasticity, as I already said, our brains can change our entire lives. So there's always hope, James. Don't lose hope. I know I can say personally, and I've seen countless other guys, they always have this thought, especially long rebooters who are scared, who are afraid that they might have screwed themselves up permanently, that if they stick to the process, as far as we know, everyone has seen improvement and ultimately recovered. If it makes you feel any better, you know, at the 12-week mark in my reboot, I was terrified, had suicidal ideation, just depressed, anxious, and horrified that I might not ever be able to recover. But as I learned about neuroscience and about the brain, I was filled with hope. So don't ever lose that. Keep that in your mind and keep trucking through the discomfort of the reboot. And don't stress yourself out about whether or not you're in a flatline. Just enjoy the process, enjoy those social interactions, and keep reaping the small little benefits that you'll feel along the way. James also asks, how detrimental is social media during recovery? I stay away from any and all illicit content and just utilize it to stay in touch with old friends and family, as well as share photos of my life. Is the screen time causing the harm regardless of the content being viewed or shared? I think if you're not using it compulsively and you're just using it as a productive tool or to stay in contact with friends and family, it's perfectly fine. Where the problems from screen time come from is the compulsive swiping, constant refreshing, seeking that dopamine hit, and the never-ending hunt for novelty. That's when it becomes a problem and can cause some of the same addiction-related brain changes, leading to a lack of motivation to do other things and get out and get connected in the real world, and you're just connected online. That's when it can become an issue. But if you are just using it as a tool for connection with your friends and family and staying up to date and limiting your time on it, and you don't feel any other negative effects, I think that's completely fine. But if you think it might be hindering your recovery process, experiment with giving it up. I personally have been seriously addicted to social media this past year, especially with COVID, staying locked in the house. And I'm actually trying to drastically cut back my social media time this last month. My main addiction was Twitter, spending way too much time on there, compulsively checking everything, staying plugged into the mainstream debate about everything, and just my thirst for knowledge can never be quenched, and I'm just constantly looking at what people are saying, and it's a big waste of time. All right, the next question is from a new patron, Jason. Appreciate the support, Jason. He asks, do you find there's almost a stigma against people who don't want to watch porn? It seems like watching porn has become such a normal aspect in society that people who are against it are almost seen as outcasts. How can we make not watching porn cooler? Also, schools need to start talking about the side effects early on in sex ed class. That is an absolute must in turning things around. I absolutely agree with you about sex ed. One of my main dreams and passions is to get the basic neuroscience of addiction and sexual conditioning and the potential negative effects of porn into sex education. I think that you don't have to get really explicit with it. You can just teach teenagers about the basic science so they can make informed decisions and know the concepts of what they watch actually matters and can change their arousal template. You don't have to get super crazy. So I know the parents that are concerned about lessons on porn, you don't even really have to get into specifics to teach them the basics of how the brain works, and they can then be smart enough to know and look for red flags when they arise. But as far as how to make not watching porn cool, I honestly think it's happening with a health perspective and a health focus. That's how you do it. You share the truth and let it speak for itself. For instance, cigarette smoking is at an all-time low among young people because having throat cancer and lung cancer isn't cool. Same thing about erectile dysfunction. If we keep getting the message out there that porn is actually sex negative and can actually take from you the one thing that you think it will give you, which is the ability to experience sexual pleasure, then young people will be all ears for that. And I know that because I've talked to them and they have never pushed back and argued with me. I haven't had one instance where I don't share the truth and tell it straight up and have pushback from a young audience. They're always completely down with the message because they know that it's screwing them up, and reality wins in the end. So I think to make abstaining from porn cool, all you have to do is share the truth and let it do its thing, because honestly, having erectile dysfunction and low libido and jacked up porn tastes that don't align with your own values, that's not cool, and kids know that. All right, next question is from Alan. He asks, what have you been up to lately? Do you have a wife and kids, a regular job? Do you work on RN full time? No, I do not work on RN full time. I wish I could, and that's why I'm so thankful for y'all's support. The more support I get, the more time I can dedicate to creating content, to updating the website, which I know it needs it, and other things like that. For work, I'm a personal trainer. I work in the fitness industry, and it's been pretty rough this year with COVID, to put it lightly. I am married to a beautiful woman, my better half and the girl of my dreams. I believe that's us right there at our engagement shoot, I think. But yeah, she's an amazing person, has encouraged me along my journey, and has always been there for me. And no, we don't have any kids yet. Hopefully in the future we'll have 2 or 3. And as far as what I've been up to lately, I've been in a really dark place the past 5 weeks or so. Just a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. I kind of went down a negative feedback loop, talking negative to myself and kind of dealing with some imposter syndrome, and just lost my confidence there for a little bit. But I am on the come up, I believe. I'm in a lot better place now, positive attitude. I've been doing everything. I've been following the advice that I give other people, making sure I'm on a routine, making sure I'm waking up early, working out, eating healthy. I kind of lost that during quarantine, during COVID. Just kind of, being stuck inside for a long time. I'm a pretty outgoing person, so the lack of social interaction kind of took its toll on me. But things are looking up, and I've been doing a project for an organization that's explaining some of the neuroscience, the brain science, articulating it in a way that the average layperson can understand. And I've also been working on some other projects that I will tell y'all more about in the near future. All right, for the last question, my man Psychops asks, it looks to me like the high water point for what we call porn addiction happened a few years ago, and that since then, with more awareness, less and less young people are exposing themselves to porn or using it unwittingly to get a dopamine high. Do you think this site, rebootnation.org, others like it, and messages like you and Noah Church put out have had a positive effect on less people using porn to get high, and by extension, become what we call porn addicts? I have no idea as far as worldwide percentage stats on how many people are getting addicted to porn right now, but I can pretty confidently say that what we've accomplished the last 9 years since Gary Wilson launched YourBrainOnPorn.com at the beginning of 2011, the explosion of NoFap, launching Reboot Nation, YourBrainRebalance.com, Porn Free, and all the mainstream media coverage and articles, and now hundreds and hundreds of other people on YouTube raising awareness like Noah Church. I think that we've definitely seen a shift in a pretty big section of youth culture that are now aware of the negative effects. And you also have, great organizations like Fight the New Drug with millions and millions of followers that primarily young people raising awareness. So, just the last 9 years, millions and millions of people now know of the potential negative effects. But again, just to be honest, I have no idea percentage-wise if that has topped off yet. I doubt it, because I know that so many people are still ignorant of the neuroscience and simply just aren't aware yet. But I think that I think that we have made some progress. If I was a gambling man, I would say that the percentage of people that are not watching porn today is less than it was 9 years ago, but I have no way to tell, and the infiltration of internet connection and smartphones worldwide has obviously drastically increased the last decade, so maybe that counterbalances it. I don't know. All I know, Cyclops, is that I will never stop raising awareness on potential negative effects until the entire world is informed. That's it for this video, y'all. Thank y'all for the support. I hope that some of it was beneficial, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!